Imagine working 70 hours a week, landing new clients, and then find out your invoice will only get paid by 50%. Welcome to life after $190,000 in Australia. And for many Australian entrepreneurs, there comes a moment of reckoning. Despite building successful businesses and contributing to the economy, crossing the 190,000 Australian dollar mark means handing over 45% of your income. And that's a heavy penalty for success. And sure, you could just hop over to Singapore and hope that the ATO forgets you exist. But spoiler alert, they won't, and these guys are just like the borderline forensics. Hi, I'm Zach from Emifast, and we help entrepreneurs keep more of what they earn. And for more information, visit our website, emifast.com. Let's dive into this Australian departure tax and why it can hit massive tax bills on paper gains. There are 4 ATO residency tests that trap most people. And the government can destroy your exit plan if you don't understand their sophisticated tracking system. So if you're planning your escape, hit subscribe because we're covering strategies that actually work. And let me explain why you're getting absolutely destroyed by Australian taxes, and it's worse than actually most people think. You're paying up to 45% on income over $190,000, but that's just income tax. Add corporate tax if you have a company, capital gain tax on investments, and other taxes as well. Your effective rate can easily hit 50% when you factor everything in. How about real example? You own a successful Australian business making $500K profit annually. After corporate tax, you want to pay yourself a dividend, and those dividends get hit with the additional personal tax. So you're left with only, let's say, $300,000 from your original $500,000 profit. And that's a 40% effective rate before we even consider other taxes. And honestly, it makes me very angry every time I see hardworking entrepreneurs getting trapped in this. It even gets worse. The Australian government has been constantly raising taxes and closing loopholes. And the message is clear. If you're successful, you're the government's favorite ATM. And this is exactly why smart Australian entrepreneurs are considering relocating. And come on, you are not running away from your responsibilities. It's about keeping a fair share of what you have worked to build. Now, if you think you can just back up and leave without consequences, you're about to get a reality check. So what could happen if you try to leave without a proper plan? Let me paint you a picture that will keep you up at night. So you move to Dubai, let's say, get an Emirates ID and even start a UAE company. But you keep your Melbourne apartment just in case, let's say, and you maintain your Australian company directorship and fly back monthly for business meetings. Now, despite spending less than 90 days in Australia, the ATO still classifies you as an Australian resident. And the result, you pay Australian taxes on your global income while you're living in Dubai. The ATO uses 4 specific tests to determine if you are still an Australian tax resident, and most people get caught by the first 3, and let me tell you why. Test number 1 is the Residency test. So they examine where you actually live. So your family ties, personal belongings, and genuine intention to stay abroad. And if you generally live in Australia, you remain a tax resident like in Europe. Test number 2 is the domicile test. So if Australia is your permanent home, you need to prove you have established a permanent place abroad with complete severance of Australian ties. Then test number 3, the 183-day test. Now, if you spend more than 6 months in Australia, you're automatically presumed a resident. And a secret that Big 4 firms use: 45 to 60 days as a practical safe harbor, and over 60 days with strong Australian ties significantly increase your audit risk. And test number 4, the superannuation test. So only applies to government employees working abroad. And this is what I mean when I say that the ATO doesn't mess around. They are analyzing your entire life, family connections, business relationships, where your heart really is. But it gets even worse. Even if you successfully change your residency, there's another trap waiting for you. And you probably think departure taxes are something that happens to other people. But let me tell you about capital gain tax, the tax trap you might not know exists until it's too late. Now picture this. You have built a successful Australian business over the years, and maybe it's worth, let's say, $2 million on paper. You decide to move to Dubai thinking you're going to enjoy that zero tax life. Now what happens next is this. The Australian government will hit you with what they call a deemed disposal. And they basically say, we're treating your assets as you sold them the day that you left. And even though you didn't even sold them. So now you owe capital gain tax on money you have never seen on a sale that never happened. Assets subject to departure tax include shares in private companies, ETFs, cryptocurrencies, and overseas real estate, and also all your trust interests. I've seen entrepreneurs get hit with $450,000 in departure tax bills on assets they never sold. The first strategy is the pre-capital gain tax asset protection for assets acquired before September 1985. Strategy number 2 is deferral election to pay tax when you actually sell and not when you leave. Strategy number 3 is pre-departure structuring through family trust and employee share schemes. And the client's $450,000 departure tax bill that is reduced to a 0 if you at least do proper planning. Now, assuming you can handle the departure tax situation, you need to start planning your actual exit strategy. Smart Australians plan their exit 6 to 12 months before departure. So you need to restructure your Australian business. You need to handle property strategy, time your crypto and stock sales, plan dividend distribution, and manage super entity withdrawals. If you keep Australian rental property, you will face a harsh non-resident tax rate of 32-45% with no tax-free thresholds. So you will lose a 50% capital gain tax discount. So you need to plan really accordingly. Now, most people don't realize how brutal the non-resident property tax are. So you go from paying maybe 20 as a resident to 45 as a non-resident. The difference can wipe out your years of rental income gains. So where should you actually go? Let me walk you through the most popular destinations for Australian entrepreneurs. Since March 2023, the UAE has officially pathways for tax residency. And this changed everything for Australian entrepreneurs. Option 1, spend 6 months in the UAE within 12 months and no other requirements are needed. Option 2, spend 90 days in the UAE plus own or rent a property and have economic ties like the UAE employment or company directorship or family residing here. You must get a tax residence certificate from the UAE Ministry of Finance. And without it, you can't access 3D benefits or you prove your UAE status to the ATO. And I can't stress this enough, this certificate is important. The ATO won't just take your word because you are saying that you're a UAE resident. They want official documentation. Getting a residency sorted is just the beginning. If you have an Australian company, things get complicated very fast. Your Australian company creates ongoing complications. It stays Australian for tax purposes even after you are leaving. If you manage this company from abroad, it becomes a dual resident with tax obligations in 2 countries. Because you have controlled foreign company rules and that might attribute company income to your person. Personal services income rules follow you globally and you need proper holding structures and genuine management from your new location. Most entrepreneurs underestimate how complex this actually gets. Your company doesn't just magically become a UAE company because you moved there. The ATO has sophisticated rules to prevent exactly what you're trying to do. And speaking of sophisticated rules, you absolutely cannot fake your way through the relocation. The ATO excels at spotting artificial arrangements, so you must build genuine substance in your new country. Move your entire family, enroll kids in local schools, build real business relationships, establish local banking with genuine activities, join communities, let's say, and this isn't an extended vacation, it's your new life. The ATO will demand documented proof, lease agreements, bank statements, business registrations, evidence of genuine economic ties. I've seen too many Australians try to have it both ways. So they want tax benefits of being a UAE resident, but they also want to have the lifestyle of still being an Australian. And the ATO sees right through this. Of course, if you want to know what to expect in your case, you can always use a tax advisor or you can reach out to us. Let me tell you about the most expensive mistakes I see Australian entrepreneurs making when they're trying to leave. Don't keep your Australian home just in case. Don't maintain company directorship because it's easier. Don't ignore departure tax exposure. Don't attempt this without professional help. I've seen entrepreneurs try this on the DIY approach and the results are 200,000 Australian dollars in professional fees plus ongoing tax liabilities. The biggest mistake, thinking this is just about spending less time in Australia. It's about completely changing your life structure. Alright, so if you want to do this right, where should you actually consider going? Now, Dubai offers personal income tax or zero personal income tax, 9% corporate tax above 375,000 dirhams, strong Australia and UAE treaty, and it's perfect for e-commerce entrepreneurs, consulting, and digital services. Singapore has only Singapore-sourced income tax, 17% corporate tax, excellent Australia and Singapore treaty, and it's perfect for all the financial services. Cyprus is also getting very popular for a lot of Australians. So the UAE, Singapore, and Cyprus all offer legitimate tax optimization with proper substance, requirements, and also treaty benefits. Each of these jurisdictions has specific advantages depending on your personal model and personal situation. So what's your action plan if you're serious about making this move? Now, your action plan should be to first calculate your current Australian tax burden, including the departure tax exposure. You need to understand properly which ATO residency tests apply to you, plan your pre-departure restructuring, research these destinations matching your business model, and get professional guidance. Every day you delay, you're paying 45% and more in taxes when you could pay maybe 12.5%. And if you're paying $200,000 annually in taxes, that's $1 million over 5 years. The ATO 60-day safe harbor, the new UAE residency rules, and proper departure tax planning can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Timing and execution are everything. Most Australians wait too long to start planning. They think about it for years, but they never take action. Meanwhile, they're paying the bill to the tax office. And look, at the end of the day, this comes down to one simple question. If you're serious about escaping the Australian tax hell, visit emifast.com for a free consultation. We will analyze your situation and create a legal roadmap, or click in the link in the description for a free meeting. Don't let Australia take half of your wealth when legal alternatives exist. Now, what is your current tax situation? Are you one of those entrepreneurs paying 45% and more, and are you thinking to leave? Drop a comment below and let me know if this breakdown helps you understand what you're really facing with Australian taxes. Share it with another entrepreneur who are trapped in the same system as you. Stay smart, stay legal, and let's get you out of the tax hell down under. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.